Executive Professor Program in helping sponsor the appearance of Sharon Lee Parker. To introduce her, I'd like to introduce to you Jean Schober-Morel, who is currently Dean of Students Emeritus. She had been Dean of Students here at UNC forever, and now works with the UNC Foundation. And Jean has had the pleasure and the honor of working with Sharon Lee Parker for the last 4 years. So I'm going to turn it over to Jean, who would introduce our speaker this afternoon.
Thank you, Lynn. It is truly a great pleasure that I get to introduce Sharon Lee Parker to you. Sharon and I met on the telephone 4 years ago tomorrow. And we met because she had written a book about being a cancer survivor. We are both cancer winners. And she was a UNC alum. And so her name came to my attention. And so I called her, and I don't know, we spoke for an hour or two, the first time we spoke on the phone. And she is an amazing woman. So she's been to UNC several times in the past 4 years to speak in classes. One time it was to become a distinguished alum from the university. She's also on the advisory board for the College of Natural and Health Sciences, so she's been here for their meetings. She received her master's here in 1977 in gerontology, and after that started work here on her PhD, and in fact was an adjunct professor in gerontology. And we are just thrilled that she's with us. The reason she is speaking with you today is that 2.5 years ago, her life took a major change as she saved an American company. Sharon.
Thank you. I have to tell you, you are the nicest people, and I'm probably not going to be the typical speaker, because not only do I love this university so much, and for a lot of reasons that I'll share a couple with you, but because I feel like you are the future for our country and our world. And I'm so proud of you that you are at UNC like I was. It was a choice for me. And I got more out of this school because of people like Jean Schober-Morel and Lynn Karowski and Dan, who couldn't be with us this afternoon, and Denise Battles, who was here from the gerontology school. I got more out of this school because this is a school that cares. This is a community that is so unique that when I travel around the country and the world in my trips for Boehm Porcelain, but also for cancer, I see all kinds of people in all kinds of places. And when I come back to Greeley, it's like coming home. I did live in Boulder, Colorado for 7 years, and I loved it too. In fact, I love this state. And as you all graduate eventually from the business school, from the Monfort School of Business, I know you're thinking, I would love to stay here. Because on the front of the Boulder camera, it always said, "'Tis a privilege to live in Boulder." And I used to read that every day and think, you know, you're really right. I had a Rocky Mountain high every day just from living here. I am here because what you're doing in both entrepreneurship, in learning about business, in saving America, that's what I'm going to talk about. What you're doing perhaps is the most critical thing that you could ever do today. And as an American woman, my title always is American Girls Can Do Anything. I met this great woman this morning whose name is Polly, that's the short, and she heard me in the morning class. And she said, I am a nurse and I am from Thailand. I spoke this morning for the gerontology class. And she is a nurse from Thailand, and she was very interested in what I do with cancer patients, coaching more than 2,800 of them. And now she's back here this afternoon. We took a picture She got a copy of my book, Look Out Cancer, Here I Come, How I Beat the Odds and Came Out a Winner. And now you see she brought all of her friends. And she said, when you come to Thailand with Boehm Porcelain, I want to show you around. That's what UNC is all about. This is a nation of people who come from everywhere, but who find a home in the United States of America. And I'm so honored that you brought your friends. Jean Morel yesterday picked me up at the airport, and to talk about how Continental Airlines is merging with United would take me about probably more than the 45 minutes that I have. But I flew in yesterday morning on Continental and got into Houston. They had a problem with the airplane. One of the engines wouldn't start out of Houston. And I thought to myself, am I ever going to get to UNC on time for a 5 o'clock class last night? But I made it. On the way, Jean stopped at the Tavern, Brett Hill's restaurant, on the way in. And I was starving, absolutely starving, because what I neglected to tell you is there was no food on the planes. The first plane left Fort Lauderdale at 6 a.m. in the morning. So I got up at 4 from Boca Raton, Florida yesterday to try to make that 6 a.m. flight. Well, they just didn't have any food, only pretzels, M&Ms, something I just couldn't eat for breakfast. They said, wait till you get to Houston. You'll be on the next flight. We'll have breakfast. Well, the next flight didn't take off because of engine trouble. So by the time I got to Denver yesterday afternoon at 3 o'clock for a 5 o'clock class that was, 2 o'clock I guess, for a 5 o'clock class that was going to be right here on the university campus at the Rocky Mountain Cancer Rehabilitation Institute, I thought to myself, I'm starving. Jean, could you just stop at McDonald's? And she said, no, I'm taking you to the Tavern. So I walked into the Tavern, and in 5 minutes, Brett Hill had the most wonderful food and the most terrific waitress. I tell you this because it was my first visit back to Greeley. And not only did I get fed well, but I had a wonderful, welcoming waitress who helped me get my foods in an expeditious way so I could get to Greeley on time. Very important, first impressions. What are the first impressions? When you go for a job, when you're thinking about being a leader, what are the impressions that you make? I find that now, as the president of a porcelain company, more and more important. How you look, how you sound, your body language, what you have to say, and how passionate you are about what you are trying to achieve. To be honest, I never knew that I was going to be the president and chairman of the last American porcelain company. It's amazing, because in Trenton, New Jersey, in 1900, there were more than 100 porcelain and pottery companies, from American Standard, Lenox, Cibus, making hard-paste porcelain that was famous the world over. They were exporting all over the United States and then all over the world. Well, as America changed, the economics changed, one after the other closed. And little did I know that the last remaining fully operational porcelain hard-paste company was going to become a part of my life. I knew about B.E.A.M or Boehm. Is it a B.E.A.M or is it a Boehm? That's a good question for the marketing students to tell me. Helen Boehm and Edward Marshall Boehm, spelled B-O-E-H-M, lived in New Jersey and had a little porcelain studio. And Edward Marshall Beam was a great sculptor of birds. He loved the wild birds, and he had an aviary at his home. They had a barn in Washington Crossing, Pennsylvania, right across from the Delaware. The reason there were so many potteries and porcelains in Trenton is because of the clay in the Delaware River. Isn't that interesting? That the sand in the Delaware River was so good for making hard-paste porcelain that everyone from American Standard on down was there. Some making bathtubs. They used to make bathtubs out of porcelain. Did you know that? Amazing. Well, I didn't have any clue that I would ever be in Trenton, New Jersey. But after, in 2002, when I was misdiagnosed with allergies, but really had 2 cancers and a benign brain tumor, I went to MD Anderson Houston. I was cured at MD Anderson Houston. And while I was there, I wrote a book. And on the cover of the book, you see a B.E.A.M porcelain flower. Why did I put a flower on the book? Well, I wrote the book for other patients to hear my story of how you could get through metastatic papillary follicular variant thyroid, nodular sclerosing Hodgkin's, and a tumor on your head, and still come out not a survivor, but as I have talked across this country, a winner. That's what I want you all to become in the business school, a winner in whatever you are going to attempt to achieve. A winner. Think winner. Think reach for the moon. And if I hit the stars, okay. Whatever I'm reaching for, high achieving. Represent this school so well that people will be standing in line to get in, because it is a gem. And you are all of the jewels of the school. You can really make it happen. I dream big. I think big. I think out of the box. We learn about what we're supposed to do, and we read all of the book knowledge that we are supposed to develop in our own heads, absorb, and then utilize. But sometimes, until you get out in the real world and take a look at the opportunities that abound, do you realize that the potential is limitless. It is only grounded by your imagination or fear. But if you can get rid of the fear and turn every negative into a positive, that's the way I live. That's why I'm fine today. And whatever hindrances or encumbrances that I have, I just choose to smile instead of frown. I choose to stand erect. I choose to communicate my feelings. What you see is really what you get. And I'm telling you that I'm going to give each one of you, I'm going to tell you my cell phone number, my mobile phone number. God, I hate the word cell. No, it stands for cellular, but I always think of prison. I'm talking about my mobile phone. And I'm going to give each one of you my number and my email so that you can call me. And if you ever have an idea or you need some advice, you can call me and I will always call you back, or you can email me. So I had cancer. I wrote a book. The reason the porcelain rose, which happens to be a B.E.A.M porcelain, is on the cover, is because when you're going through chemotherapy, you shouldn't be playing with fresh flowers. People don't know that. That's one of the things I educate people about, and it's because the water in the fresh flowers deteriorate. Now you're going through, say, lymphoma or a leukemia, and you're taking very strong drugs. They compromise often your immune system. So as the water in the fresh flowers deteriorate and then you pour it out because you want to preserve them, you have no defense. It's like Israel without an army. Can you imagine how it could survive? It's the same thing. A person going through chemotherapy doesn't have an immune system. So on certain days of the month, they should never have fresh flowers. The B.E.A.M flowers last forever. I knew about it since 1972 when when Helen B.E.A.M was smart enough to donate a few pieces to different places in the world, and I won my first piece in Tuxedo Park, New York. She was very interested in the horticultural societies, the garden clubs, the places that could announce and use proactively in public relations the beautiful animals, birds, and flowers that they created by hand. No machinery here. Every petal, every leaf, whether it's a giant piece or a little piece, are done by hand. So after I had won my first piece, I began a love affair. And when my husband would say, "What would you like for Christmas or Easter or the holidays or your birthday?" I'd say, "Just beam me." And he would send me a piece. He'd call Beam, or we didn't have internet in those days, and he'd say, "Sharon, get Sharon an elephant, a little elephant, or a flower, a hibiscus, an orchid." And I've developed a selection of Beam. I call it today the ultimate selectable. It's not a collectible. Now, why isn't it a collectible? Because collectible is what my mother or grandmother did. Am I right? We collected. And then we put things, my mother put things in the break front and closed the key. Not me. I have things all over my house. Some things that are valuable and some things that are not. And I teach my children, and now my little grandchildren, how to treasure something that is beautiful and handmade. Is it worth saving something in America? Can American girls, in fact, do anything with a little help from the boys or the guys? Yes, you can. Because American women, no matter where we are all from, when we come to America, we're American women. I have ancestors from many different countries: Italy, Russia, Glasgow, Scotland, and one from America, my grandmother. But everyone originally came from somewhere else. This is a country to treasure. This has always been an independent country. So while it is great to help everybody else, if we want to stay strong in America, we need to keep American industry right here, producing. I look at you, the next generation, the one we are leaving this country to in your very treasured hands, and we say, where are your children going to work, and for whom? This is a real question, because women, when it's their birthday or any holiday, you like your family around for Thanksgiving. But if you can only find a job in another country, and I'm not saying not to go visit another country, not to go study in another country, you should go help in another country, but when you want to come back to the United States of America, we have to have jobs here. How do we do that? Well, the first thing that we do is we stand tall. And we not only need to have cottage industries in our garages, but we need to have factories, we need to have plants, we need to have industry that is developing. America was always an independent, developing nation. We don't want to be a dependent nation. We want our young people to know that, yes, we have great brains, we have creative brains, we have intelligent brains, we can create and produce here, only limited by our imagination, our creativity, and our great determination to save this country. We don't want to be second-rate or third-rate. We have the brains to be first-rate. And that's when you're first-rate, you can help everybody else. And I'm all for helping. I'm all for contributing. I'm all for having friends from every nation. And I'm so glad, again, that you are here. And I hope to come to Thailand because B.E.A.M Porcelain, believe it or not, in just 3 years, that's how long I'm the president, I walked in to buy this rose for a doctor who has cancer. And I coach cancer patients, as I told you, and I had coached him. Don't think that doctors don't need help when they have cancer, or anybody else for that matter. They all go through a rough time. So I went in to coach the doctor, and he said to me, I'd like to get that B.E.A.M Hope Rose for my wife for Valentine's Day. And I said, do you know what? I'm going to be in New Jersey at a board meeting at a hospital. I will go and pick it up and bring it to Rumson, New Jersey. And I went to B.E.A.M to pick it up and found out that they were closing in 4 days. New owners taking it, well, closing it for good, rumored to be taking it away from America. I thought to myself, how can this happen? B.E.A.M Porcelain is in 130 museums. It's in the Vatican, the Smithsonian, the White House, the Hermitage, people like Bill Clinton, all of the presidential libraries since Eisenhower. How could we possibly let this go and just close it because it's cheaper to make it somewhere else? It may be cheaper to make it somewhere else, but our standard of living in America is high. And not in every country where they have people who are coming down from the mountainsides to work in factories do they have the standard of living that we have. People come to this country for a better life. People come to this country because you can dream big here. And so when they told me that it was going to close in 4 days, and they were so happy to see me, I looked at them and I said, this will never close in 4 days. I'm going to find a way to save the company for America. Where did that come from? I went in to buy a $595 rose, and I ended up with a company. Now, you might say, well, where did you get the money? How did you do this? There was no question that a lot of negotiation took place. And the people who were going to close it, who really didn't care if we made hard-paste porcelain handmade in the United States anymore, those people said to me, do you think you can still do this in America? We can make it much cheaper and a resin in another country. And I said, I'm sure you can. But this has a big history. This is a company that needs to stay here because they've all gone. This is a symbol of what's great about America. And did you know, I said, that there are many foreign countries and people from other places that come to America and want to take something home that says, made in America. Does that mean that we can't have a global economy? Does that mean that we can't send eventually B.E.A.M porcelains around the world to people who would enjoy having them, just like we receive pieces from other countries? You know, your mother might have some German china, some Japanese china, some china from England or Ireland. Couldn't we still make beautiful American pieces here? The answer is absolutely yes. And I want you to know that this year alone, we have sent to the sheikh, excuse me, I'm learning so much, the sheikh in Doha, Qatar, who is opening a new hotel called the Grand Heritage in January, 400 B.E.A.M flowers for his Grand Salon foyer in Doha, Qatar. My husband and 2 B.E.A.M artisans spent 15 days this summer in Doha. And the sheikh in his dress would come running in to see the B.E.A.M porcelains that are placed in open-sided Italian cubes for all of his guests to enjoy. Prince Charles collects this. I sent a piece for Kate and William because way before me, all of the pieces for Diana were made in porcelain by B.E.A.M. And that's why B.E.A.M Porcelain, the address is 25 Princess Diana Lane in her honor. Trenton, New Jersey. Can you imagine? They call New Jersey the Garden State. I want to share with you, in case you've never been to New Jersey, it's a stretch. It's a stretch. The only, there are some gorgeous towns and hamlets, of course, and I speak in Princeton a lot. It's a beautiful city. I recently spoke for the Princeton Chamber of Commerce. And all of the Chamber of Commerce is made up of 3/4 men and probably 1/4 women, which is why I say to women, American girls can do anything. But of course, it's so nice to have a balance, men and women. Flowers, you may think, are a feminine thing, but I want to tell you that when I was invited this summer to go see Pope Benedict in Rome, I have 40 pictures with the Pope. Can you imagine what an honor this is? Because of B.E.A.M Porcelain. Now, I didn't ever dream, I've been to the Vatican before as a tourist, but never did I dream that just because I saved a small but world-famous American company, that I would be invited to visit the Pope and bring him 17 pieces of the Principio and the bust of John Paul, his great friend. That led to B.E.A.M being in St. Patrick's Cathedral, and to us, and I'll show these to you and I can pass them around. But these beautiful pieces that I brought, he treated me like I was Princess Grace for a day. I mean, I hope my life comes out better than Princess Grace, as I say, because she didn't have a timely ending. But it was one of the most exciting, I can pass some of these around, one of the most exciting, extraordinary days. I do want them back just because they're so special to me. It's a treasure. But if you ever want a picture with the Pope, how close could you get to the Pope? Amazing. And you see I have a mantilla on, and I was invited to the papal household the night before, all by myself, with 2 guests, but really all by myself. And I spent an hour upstairs, 200 stairs up, a little American company, but with a big reputation. And I know you saw this, but then we can pass it. And these are pictures from Doha, Qatar. These are some of the handmade, every petal, every leaf, handmade. I'm particularly interested in knowing you because you can help me and I can help you. How do we do this? How do we help each other? Well, you can see me here in front of the Statue of Liberty. We've just made a big statue. And the necklace that I'm wearing, which you may be able to see, is a celebration of life of the Statue of Liberty. And this year I made it because, here we go, all of these people on this huge poster are cancer winners. And so one of these people I coached, they are of every persuasion, in many countries I've coached, not everyone that's in the picture, but many of them. And one of the ladies was an executive at Ellis Island. And she said, you know, Sharon, Dr. B.E.A.M, who works with you, is a French-American. The Statue of Liberty is right here. If you ever want to have a day with your patients, just call me up and we'll give you the land. We'll give you a time, a day that you can do this. I want you to know that I'm going into my 4th year this coming September. The first year we had 900 for a celebration, which I call Celebration of Life and Liberty. Then we had 1,800. Then we had 2,500. No cost to the patient. The idea was, you've made it. You are doing well. We want to give you a day of music, song, dance. You could do the same thing in Greeley. You can get together, and we've gotten together, many people. You can do it for any reason that you want, because as you go into your different businesses, you are only limited by your imagination. So this necklace emanated out of that. It's a $295 24-karat gold porcelain handmade necklace honoring the opening of the crown after 9/11. Can you imagine how fabulous that is? I wear it all the time. So I went to Rome, and people stopped me on the street wondering where I got it. Well, I got it right out of my own head. It just made common sense to me. And do you know that now we are going to be making the Ellis Island Awards? Because I was invited to Ellis Island to go to the celebration of the 100 top Americans. Each year they honor 100 top Americans who come from every other country, but who come to America to make it happen. The land of opportunity. That's why your ancestors came here in many cases, because life was going to be better here. We need to make sure that in your generation, it is better here. Study hard, but only do in your life what you have a passion for. And if you're not sure what the passion is, I want to go into business, but I'm not sure what kind. That's a very typical answer. Not everybody knows at 18 or 22 or even older sometimes exactly what they want to do. So I tell people to get on a path. Get all the education that you can. I wish to God that I was more computer literate, that I had more IT experience, and I'm going to speak to the entrepreneurial class later. I don't know if any of you are in it. Are any of you in it? Oh, good. Well, then good. I'm looking forward to speaking to you, and others too, because in each segment of the business, in each segment, you need to become an expert. Just like the President of the United States becomes the President, he doesn't know everything about everything. You take over a company like this, you don't know everything. And you learn by doing. You get on that treadmill and you keep going. And you'd be surprised, now it's just 3 years that I have B.E.A.M, you'd be surprised at how much smarter I am than I was 3 years ago. Because I got my feet wet. Because I took a chance. Because I know that you come into this world with nothing. You leave with this world with nothing. What did you do in the middle that makes the difference? That's the key here. I can tell you that I know a lot of very affluent people, but when they die, it doesn't matter. It's what kind of a person were they? What did they do? How did they foster what they believed in? And as all of you very handsome and beautiful young ladies and men who are in here, I want to tell you, before you get so committed into a marriage, my advice as a mother, and it was to my own children too, know that you can stand on your own 2 feet. Very important. The more you can stand on your own 2 feet, the more confident you are. The better mate you're going to be. Because you're not going to be in the back of your head, oh, I wish I had gone on to school. Oh, I wished I'd gotten a little more education. I wish I had had a job and knew that, heaven forbid, if it doesn't all work out fine, I can earn a living. It's really important. As you look at these porcelains, you can see some of the religious items that we make for churches and Vatican, and people just like you and me. This is not something that is only for the elite, although the company targets the top 5%. It isn't a Kmart, Walmart item because it's handmade and signed by the artisans. You can see the beauty of each piece. How are we changing now? Well, for 2012, we are targeting beams for the bride, baby beams, and also we are targeting places like Ralph Lauren, who now has B.E.A.M on his desk because we're making horses and polo ponies. And Len Lauren, Ralph's brother, you should excuse me, came into a store in Palm Beach and saw the B.E.A.M collection. And he goes, oh my God, he goes, these belong in our signature stores. Well, I didn't really believe he was Ralph Lauren's brother, but he was. So I went out to dinner, and now I've been to New York, to 58th Street, to the Ralph Lauren building on the 8th floor, and I dragged 15 porcelains upstairs to the chief designer. And the chief designer said, oh, I like this, and I like that, and I like this. We're already working on 2013. Now, that was about 4 months ago. So they're already way ahead. That's one of the things I've learned about companies. They think way ahead. Don't get depressed if somebody turns your idea down. Keep moving. Keep trying. Keep calling. And get smarter. And when you do that, and when I say get smarter, it means if you can't do something one way, tweak it another way. See if they will buy your idea and your concept another way. Money is, of course, important in any idea that you have. I didn't really have much time to say I want to save this company. As you might know, Steuben Glass has closed. Steuben Glass, world famous. They had decided that they weren't making enough money, not enough people were buying it, they were closing. Imagine closing Steuben. When I grew up, Steuben was one of the elite gifts that you could give, and yet it closed. I'm a member of the luxury brands in America, and it comes out of New York City. And when I've gone to the meetings, I have learned one thing. The top 15 brands in America, none of them are owned by Americans, volume-wise. None of them. What does that say? It says we have a lot of work to do. So it's Boucher Home, it's Versace, it's Hermes, all lovely, lovely items, but not ones that are owned by Americans, even Tiffany. So it behooves us to say, wait a minute, we can turn this around no matter what market we're in, whether in the luxury market or the mass market. The least expensive B.E.A.M retail, I'll tell you how we do this, is $95. And it is the little B.E.A.M Tiger. And we market everything to the stores at half. So if Neiman Marcus is selling a piece for $895, they're paying 50% less. Now, in some markups in jewelry, they even get a better markup. You know, it costs them $25, they sell it for $100. That doesn't happen in the porcelain because these are made in America. And you pay a wage that is an American wage so that people can have a standard of living. These little tigers come in 3 sizes. A $3,300 big tiger, the Princeton tiger, that's sold in the Princeton store. And then the little tiger, and I think a tiger maybe for $400. And they pay half, and then they get it. You can see the little pea with the football right here. I brought, just imagine dragging this on the airplane. It's not easy these days to drag posters, airplane pieces, hope roses. The little baby rabbit, when I went to the White House, I brought the president the great porcelain eagle with the American flag draped, as I showed you. It's right on here. You can come up afterwards and see it. We also have it on my little app. And I brought the president's wife, Michelle, the Hope Rose. Malia and Sasha both got little rabbits and little bluebirds, all made in the United States. I love the idea that made in the United States is now becoming important on all of the political spectrums, something I have been shouting about for the last 3 years, because I really feel it, that in order to have a strong economy, we have to be strong at home. I'm going to leave you with this thought. It is what B.E.A.M represents. Is it a beam or is it a Boehm? It's a beam. And what it represents, the B stands for, in my view, believe in yourself. You can make it happen. The O stands for open your eyes to every opportunity. You never know who walks into your life, just like me. You just don't know who can change things, who can help you. Keep your eyes open. E, get educated and embrace what you do. And embrace your friends. Because even though we are a competitive nation, we are a nation that is a profit-based nation. I don't believe in stamping on your neighbor. I think that even if you're doing well, if your neighbor isn't doing well, we have a problem here. You can live in a mansion and his house is foreclosed. What does that say? We need to have jobs here. So E, educate and embrace. H, have a heart. Remember, as we do, using B.E.A.M for healthcare initiatives now, healthcare initiatives. I just finished Palm Beach, the American Lung Association, Leukemia Lymphoma Society, Jewish Guild for the Blind, YWCA, all using B.E.A.M porcelains. Believe in tomorrow's children, veterans whose children have cancer, Mending Hearts with Hope, Naples, Florida, abused women and children, all choosing now to use B.E.A.M as one of the ways that they're going to fundraise throughout the year. Universities, hospitals are using B.E.A.M for awards. The University of Miami just ordered 100 angels, Sylvester Cancer Research, for the biggest donors that they have. And many others are doing that. So have a heart. It comes back to you in many ways. We give all the retail profit to these people. And the last part is M. Make it happen. You can do this. You have a school that cares about you. You have professors who care about you. Dream big and make it happen. And I know that even myself and everyone here will help you in every way possible. Thank you so much for being here. Thank you.
I want to echo just one of the themes that Sharon had mentioned just in passing. The theme of the speech was made in America. She talked about her necklace, and I said, where did it come from? She said, who makes it? Who made it? And she said, it was made in my head. What she's shown you in a matter of 3 years, saving a company, coming from her own head, that in 3 years she's visited with presidents and popes and sheikhs and universities and healthcare professionals, and she does it coming out of her own head. As she'd indicated, the possibilities are unlimited, and to think big. And we appreciate both the message about B.E.A.M porcelain, we appreciate the message about leadership, entrepreneurship, and certainly the inspiring message that she has. And as a result, what do you present as a plaque, as a token to somebody who comes with an array like this? You can't hope to do so. So hopefully it's just a little title that we designate Sharon Lee Parker as a Monfort visiting executive speaker, and we thank her for the time that she's dedicated to us and to UNC and all of her efforts on our behalf. Thank you so much.
Very special, very special.
Because unfortunately they need the room for the College of Performing Visual Arts. We're going to move some of these things out, and Sharon will have some time to talk to you out in the foyer out here.
A real treasure. I will always treasure this. And I hope to come back many times. Thank you so much. If you want my card, you come up and talk to me.
Thank you all very much.
Thank you.